Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the post-match review of BGT, which is also called as Border Gavaskar Trophy. If you guys are wondering why we're doing this, 2 days later after the match, well, it was supposed to be a 5 days test match. So we're here on the fifth day doing the review with the elite panels here, Abhishek Mandyam Chakravarti, from Bangalore and Akshamanjit Chakravarti, just across the room, about 10,000 kilometers away from Netherlands. Hello, guys. How are you all?
Can't be better.
Doing good.
Good to know. Good to know.
It's
Okay,
it's
so this
nice to see you hosting the post-match review.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so
I
pleased.
thought we'd give a break to Aksha, who's been doing it for quite a while now. So I'm going to give a little long introductory before we touch up on the topic of India being bloody brilliant. I would like to say I'm a little angry and disappointed that Australia, after giving us some hope after the second day, I really thought they were noses ahead with 60-40 being advantage in Australia, I would say. Um, so before we deep dive into this test match, Abhishek, you and I both closely watched the 2016-17 test series, and it was a well fought test series. I felt Australia was our arch nemesis and the toughest team to beat in that home series. What went wrong? I mean, where is that Australian side? It was a 2-1 series. What happened to that Australian side? And here they are in just 6 days. They've given away the Border Gavaskar Trophy for the fourth time to India. That's really sad.
True that it's as I spoke in the previous episode also. It's more to do with the mindset, which also impacts the shot selection, right? So we know a lot of people spoke about they using sweep as an alternate for the defense, which of course did not work at all in the second innings. Uh, it was okay in the first innings here and there, but to have six batsmen getting out to sweep and reverse sweep is really, I don't know. When you are saying it's not working for many, I guess they have to work on the defense, which is a major drawback in this series in all the four innings. So and also, if you see, the wickets have fallen to the straighter deliveries, right? Especially for Jadeja, who's very accurate to stump, and they've tried to slog sweep, which isn't the right shot. So, for the question which you are asking, why there is a downfall, I would say short selection as a single answer. But of course, there are other factors as well. But for
Yeah,
now, let's
can
stick to short selection.
further touch upon that. I mean, I will ask you that question again going forward. So Akshar, again, the same question. Here's Steven Smith, who has scored 3 centuries the last time he toured here. It's not the first time he's here on our soil. He scored 3 centuries. He absolutely dominated the Indian bowling last time around. And here he is in 4 innings. He's probably averaging, well below in tens. And that is astonishing and disappointing. What do you think is going wrong
I
with Smith?
Yeah, I think Ashwin has somehow gotten into his head. He himself admitted to it when India played him in Australia. But more than that, I think they spooked a bit, and the reason each match lasted 3 days is because Australia never looked to play more than 3 days. I think they have to realize it's going to be tough batting, but have to bite the teeth and bat through these overs, bat through those pressure moments. You cannot come to India and expect something like a freebie. Probably they got that in Pakistan, and they expected something similar when they come to India. It's not. It's also known to that India is going to put more spicier pitches. That is our strategy to win. It's abundantly clear. If they didn't think this before the series started, they're dreaming. And they have to come here, and every player has to look to play 100 balls. It's similar to what we say to Indian batsmen when we go to any Sena country. We have to look to play 100 balls. It never looked for a single moment anybody apart from maybe Labuschagne and Smith in the first innings of the first match, and Hanscom in the first innings of this match, who even look to apply themselves, and that application is the reason they're losing it. It's not it's short selection, of course, but that is the failure mode, let's say. But it's the lack of application or even the will to apply. That is the mentality problem that they have.
Right. That's actually very nicely put. Few points there. I hope a few people are hearing to what Akshar is pointing out here. So here's something which I want you to do right now, Abhi. I'm going to give you a cap, and this is the cap of you being the Australian coach, and you are the Australian batting coach as well right now. Okay. So what are you going to tell the Australian players? I would let's take out the top four of the Australian batsmen. I would say, Quaja, Head, Labuschagne, and Smith are got their they're sorted. I want you to talk about what about the remaining seven, who's going to again come and who's going to face the same music again in indoor. So what are you going to say? How are you going to ask them to correct themselves?
First of all, forget what has happened in the first two tests. Start fresh. That is as we always tell, one game at a time, right? So forget what has happened. There's still plenty left in this series. They can still draw the series. Of course, they can't take back the BGT, but to draw the series from here is a big achievement itself. So
Exactly.
forget what has happened.
Absolutely.
And as Akshar rightly pointed out, apply yourself. When we play we always talk about it, right? Forget the Akshar mentioned it, 100 balls. We always talk about minutes, right? 100 minutes. So it's as good as the same, right? So when you apply yourself and stay there, forget the you spoke about head, right? So there are demons in head, so remove that. Don't think there are demons on the pitch. Of course, odd ball will turn here and there, but and also the point of contact where you are playing it. So using your feet, going onto the back foot, you have to read the pitch, and the moment you get there, understand what kind of bounce you can expect and what kind of surface it is. So you'll have to, it's not about what you practice in nets, you have to apply what can be done on the pitch. So that's very clear. So don't think too much, have free mind, go there, remove the demons from it, the demons on pitch, you can manage.
Right. That's actually that was yeah. I guess if the Australian coach is actually saying that, that's actually a very good advice to the players there. So Akshar, now I'm going to put you in the hot spot of things like you're the technical analysis guy. You're the man behind the screen. You're watching what is unfolded. And for me, when I said I'm disappointed and angry, it was something like uh, number 11, reverse sweeping is something which I cannot personally accept. See, as a player, I'm sure. Here's my question for you. What is the mode of dismissal which you would be disappointed in? LBW bold, or getting edged and caught behind, or edged and getting caught in slip or in short leg in this format? Since it's the spinners, which is the format of dismissal that you would be most disappointed in?
As a analyst,
Yeah, as an analyst, let's say, yeah, as an analyst, when you're seeing, your players getting out like this, what was it that you would say to them?
I would say to them that it is true that batting on day one and day three are different, especially given that when day one it's already spinning. I think they have to play a different kind of cricket compared to day two and and also day three. So I don't think the mode of dismissal is really the important parameter for me. It would happen in one way or the other. It happened under edging and onto the stump. It could have also happened top edges and to the keeper's hand. Yeah, it's just that you're playing wrong shots to the wrong balls. You could. It was. I saw Labuschagne practice coming on front, trying to play Jadeja on the front, but when he bowled the same ball, his instinct took him back and he just got bowled. So understanding this, recognizing it, and also playing better shots, being clear of mind, knowing in this pitch I'm going to play to the line and also on the front foot as much as possible, and make the bowler do something different. It just felt like they were bowling and Australians were giving the wickets. So shift strategy. Trust me, even if you give 4 maidens but don't give a wicket, it will frustrate the bowler.
Right. That's actually really true. Especially in this format where you're always looking for a wicket. And I think we've covered a lot
Before
of.
you Amogh, before you go to the next question, so I have a question for you. We have been seeing a lot of baseball across other side of the globe. Okay, so what do you think if Australia tried to apply this, will it work out? We saw glimpse of it on the day two last session where they were scoring more than 4 runs and they were successful to some extent, right? So what do you think if that can be done on Indian pitches?
Yeah, so I honestly felt that's exactly the strategy which they applied, and I felt for a major part of it, it was working. But if you see the short selections, which we have already covered on this point, it was for balls which were the right shots to be chosen, and they didn't premeditate. Like for example, if I have to take Pat Cummins, he came thinking the first ball I'm going to slog sweep.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do, which is you can't do that. That is not baseball technique. Your intention is to hit the ball, but it's the shot selection which is important. You had Pat Cummins dance down the track and try to hit Jadeja over long on for a six and mistimed it, that would have been still fine, rather than slog sweeping and getting bowled where the bat and the ball had almost like 6-inch difference. That is the point.
Yeah. Indeed, I think they have to learn to play better cricket. Also, I don't need to go for that six. Even coming down, keeping the scoreboard ticking. Trust me, India were already severely in the back foot when day 3 began. To give Ashwin a wicket in the first over was just not the right strategy. They recuperated again, and then of course Labuschagne got out, but then Steven Smith to I don't know, Hoik sweep. It was also not a proper sweep, I must say. It's just poor strategy, and that's where they lost it. The rest of the wickets were just formality, but they lost the edge with those 3 wickets that fell within 10 overs.
Right. I think that's the deep diving which I wanted to actually get into right now for the the point that Akshar mentioned is kind of what I want to touch upon. Just before that, let's start to shift the focus a little bit towards India. So I think the one reason why we dominate in India is the fact that our lower order. I mean, Nathan Lyon mentioned this fact that it's not never a lower order; it's a long middle order. That's what he said. And so here's my question to you, Abhi. Do you think that this is the best Indian team ever because of the fact that even the lower order can come and bat? And mind you, these guys have got numbers equivalent to Anil Kumble and Harbhajan Singh. They're on
Best
par with their
Indian team in India or best Indian team?
Best Indian team in India. Best Indian team in India first. That's my question. Yeah, best Indian team in India. Abhi, would you write it off like that?
Not exactly. Because we have seen. See, we had an era where there were around 5 people, 5 players with more than 100 tests. So that means 100 tests means playing for 10 years, right? So you have experience, huge experience, and this is the same team which beat Australia in 2008 2-0. Remember that team? That was too brilliant. Okay, so but having said that, this team is no pushover. There's still a very strong team in India, and also the third spinner. The third spinner is just a break for the other spinners. But here, the advantage with the third spinner is he's also capable of picking wickets. We have had players like Jayant Yadav, who also would perform with bat, right, coming low down the order. But he was not a wicket taker like, say, Akshar Patel, right? So, in that sense, I would say in the last 5 to 6 years, this is one of the strongest team when compared to the batting depth and also the bowling options we have. But also, we know the batting, the top order is still not stable. We have had a lot of combination in the top with Mayank playing, Prithvi Shaw playing, and now we have KLR.
I
So in that term, that's the only reason why I'm not saying this is the strongest team or the best team.
I still agree with Abhi. I think this is not primarily because I think lower order has bailed us out quite often, and that's primarily also due to poor strategy from the opposition. If Steven Smith had held on to Akshar when he was just 18, this match would have had a completely different light. Imagine Australia getting, I don't know, even a 50-run lead. Yeah, they do something completely different, and probably India loses this. We are sitting here with only talking this because Australia pretty much committed suicide on day 3, session 1. If it had gone any other way, they were in the driving seat. And the fact that they were in the driving seat in India means that, yeah, our batting is just not good enough. And the fact that we are not good enough means we are not the best team.
Well,
Also,
okay.
just to throw up some stats. So the last time we scored 500 plus on an Indian soil was against Sri Lanka, and the lower order contributed there. Jadeja scored 175, if I'm not wrong, and Ashwin scored around 60. So it's not the top order who has helped us score big, right? So, and that is still a concern and still a worry.
Hence my hence why I asked this question in the first place, which is why I felt like, just like in a hypothetical scenario, I would feel that this Indian team would still beat the team of 2008 because of the bowling skills, which is on par with them, and the batting skills, even though is not on par with that team, is just that the 10 people can bat and they'll still score 400 runs. So that's the reason why I asked this question. But it was interesting, the inputs that was given from both of you. Akshay actually touched upon a lot of other questions which I wanted to ask. So I'm going to just, in a very plain sight, put it again across. So here it is. Akshay, so, it was 60-40, right? Like you mentioned, Australia were noses ahead. So, you know, at that point, wasn't it just simple that they didn't have to come, full blown having to hit India out? It was just about simple, you know, scoring another 100 runs, right? Even if they had scored another 100 runs, I think 160 was like a daunting task.
I think you're right, and I think that's also the brief Australia got. And in their head, it was just that 100 runs is good enough, so let's hit them and get the 100. And in that process, they lost the game. I think they recognized there were 60 runs, 62 runs, or something like that ahead, and another 50 or 60 was good enough to put India severely in the back foot. It's just that in India things can turn really quickly, so they didn't choose the right moments, to be honest. And in this pitch, they should have played a lot more in the V. You could see everybody comment it's not a pitch to play sweep. They just did the absolutely wrong step to achieve the same goal. So yeah, I think what you say is right, and Australia also recognized it. They just couldn't implement it.
Right. So, I mean, Abhi, you know, overall, this test obviously had a lot of ebbs and flows, but um, I'm still, shocked. I kind of like switched off the TV when we were about 7 wickets down. I thought, okay, let me just take a breather here. This is going to be quite disappointing to see. And I switched on the TV again, and there was like 50 runs lead. I mean, 50 runs of a partnership on, and this has now happened for quite some time. Uh, Ashwin time and again bails us out. Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel, what's he doing there? Why is Akshar Patel batting at number 9? Should he get promoted? Start playing much more up ahead.
Not at all.
Abhi,
We should play there. We need someone to bail us out in such situations, right? So let him play there. Also, we have been on the receiving end over the years, where we have seen other teams contribute with a lower order, right? So there's a tendency that every team feels relaxed after one point of time. So that's what is happening with a lot of teams after the fall of sixth wicket or say seventh wicket. mm, they recognize this is just a last batting pair, or they're into the tail. Okay, so there's a tendency of the body language becoming relaxed. So that is one reason, not to take away anything from the brilliance of Akshar Patel. He was too good. It wasn't like and the timing of attacking. So you saw he was very defensive in his first 30 balls, and then when he had an opportunity to counter attack, it was
And
really brilliant.
it was also the bowlers he picked, so it was quite good strategy. He played them out, and then when Kuglaman had to bowl, that's when he went after. So yeah, it is not a blind hitting, as people say. In fact, that's what you should also do to Indian bowlers. You wait them out and then start batting.
Mhm. Okay, I guess we've covered most of the points here, guys. I'm just let's kind of fast forward to now. Obviously, we've got some break and the third test match. Moving from Dharamshala to indoor. What do you think? It's going to be the same kind of track, or there is going to be any difference here? The
Uh,
question is open. Both of you guys can answer
I will
that.
say very simple. I know that in ODI and other cricket, indoor is actually a belter of a track, but it would be
Right.
stupid of India to not put out a Turner. I would say ask some local boys to just play a 2 day match there and then give the give the field. Yeah, it's simple. The formula is working. Why do something different?
Yeah,
Right.
and they have plenty of time, so they can in fact have a short 4-day game also.
Right. Right. So, overall,
Also,
mhm. Yes, go ahead, please,
yeah,
please.
we continue to the BGT, I just wanted to touch upon India, but the Indian women team here, who are doing really good, and they've reached the semi-final of T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
So we are facing Australia again there. So it's a different ball game altogether. Same teams, but here obviously Australia start favorites. So what do you guys want to talk about that? And do you think India can upset? I would really want to put it as upset because of how Australia has dominated this T20 World Cup.
I think not just this World Cup, over the last 2 years, the way they've dominated women cricket, they've been unparalleled in almost all formats, actually. They've really set a bar quite high, like almost like the 2000s of the men cricket. They're in the pretty much the same phase. So any team going ahead and beating them is going to be like a major upset indeed. And I don't know who's gonna pull off that miracle. It's gonna be tough. I just keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Just hope India manage to pull off and do an upset.
Yeah, I also hope the same. But also it'd be nice to see them in this avatar, the beginning of at least let's say ending of February, and then in March they have to come together and play together. So it will be a nice learning experience. I still think Australia start favorites. They did top their group. They never put a step wrong. It will take a crazy effort from the Indian women, and probably multiple spectacular performances to win the game. It's going to be tough, but you don't win World Cups without playing tough matches.
Yeah, that's true. Right. So guys, I don't have any further questions to ask, but I just want to reiterate on certain points that was started to but spoken so loudly just before the series started. Stephen Smith said that this is greater than the Ashes, right? Win now here, and Cummins said that this will be like a crown on the head. Such amazing comments. And Ian Chappell actually went on to write an article saying that this is probably the best chance the Australians have with the top order looking shaky and Rishabh Pant's absence. After all this, I'm really angry and disappointed with the way the two test matches foiled out. Are you thinking there's going to be any change now? Do you think there's going to be any change? Just a quick point out. You think what are the changes that can be there in both the teams?
I really hope they bring in a second pacer, and I think they should realize that even though Indian pitches don't have so much bounce or too much pace, it's very abundantly clear. I don't think our players our tailenders are still comfortable with pace around their ribs. Try that strategy out. They're not doing too many things wrong for the opening batsman. I think we are shooting our leg ourselves. We are giving away quite a few soft dismissals. When it comes to the tail, throw the spin strategy out. They're comfortable playing spin. Bring in your paces. Go to bumpers. Go one on the Yorker. Let's see what our batsmen do. I hope they don't pick this strategy up, because I think it's going to work against Ashwin at least, if not both Jadeja and Akshar.
Right, Abhi. So just a little, do you think Shubman Gill will be a sure replacement for KLR? Is that what you think it's going to be?
We'll have to wait and see, because the way Dravid and Rohit Sharma spoke, they are backing KLR. So mm, if that's the case, probably he might be looked into the third test and maybe in the fourth test. We never know how Indian team works. If there's a niggle in between for KLR,
Right.
but also you mentioned about how Australia expected this series to be very big. They are themselves to blame here. They are See, if they lose 4-0, and if Sri Lanka wins 2-0 against New Zealand, these are ifs and buts, but quite possible, right? And Australia themselves to be blamed, because they might lose out on the WTC berth.
Right. That's something, right? That's something to say. Really. So I guess that's it over here from the review. We will definitely come for a preview of the third test match a day before, and we can probably talk more deep about the playing 11s and things then. But yeah, it was really fun talking to you guys.
Yeah,
Adios, guys.
nice to be on this side, but will you also continue hosting, Amogh?
Let's
Nice.
see.
Yeah.
Right now, I was really enthusiastic to host, and I had certain questions which I want to bugger up on you guys, and you guys answered it well. So, yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.